The idea of starting a business is incredibly romantic when we're thinking of the dreams we're trying to fulfill. As the ideas bubble and percolate, we move towards action. That last word, action, is the most important word any of us can take to heart when we make the leap of faith into entrepreneurship. Action is what sets successful people apart from everyone else because they took that scary, exhilarating first step towards realizing their goals. But heavy is the head that wears all of the hats necessary to run a business. The peaks and valleys of being your own boss are enough to test the mettle of the strongest amongst us. That perseverance is rewarded with character, knowledge, and most importantly, wisdom. No matter the business, this is what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, and this is
ManVsMood.
Wholesome Boy Clothing was a brand started with the idea of creating high-quality clothing you'd like to buy, wear, and represent for ourselves. However, it has quickly blossomed into a more purposeful mission. To us, Wholesome Boy is an extension of character. We represent genuine individuals where being kind is just who they are, publicly and behind closed doors, all the while creating clean, trendy, and meaningful designs on high-quality garments. We're about wearing your heart on your sleeve, or shirt, or hat, or hoodie. You get the point. Probably understands that is the mission of the clothing company run by, I don't know why I'm struggling with that, Jonathan, who is our very special guest today. Jonathan started Wholesome Boy with a gentleman named Justin, am I right?
That is correct, yeah.
Jonathan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
Of course.
Appreciate Gary kind of facilitating this.
About time he did something, but
But yeah, I definitely can't take any or all credit for the brand or starting it. Justin Edwards, who's one of my best friends and roommate and business partner, it was a co-founding kind of collaborative effort between us. And it's something we both wanted to do. Like, we kind of both just had this idea in the back of our mind for a long time, just wanting to do something outside the norm, do something different, We both work, typical kind of like 9-to-5 jobs, and got to a point where we were just like, let's do something cool. Let's start a clothing company. And the name Wholesome Boy actually stemmed from kind of a funny story. At one point, we both had kind of child pictures of ourselves as like our Instagram avatar or on Twitter or whatever. And it just looked wholesome, us with our parents or us just as young kids. And that was kind of the inspiration behind the meaning. So, established in 2021.
so it's a COVID business.
It is a COVID business,
As
absolutely.
many
So,
businesses were closing, you were opening, and I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
And it takes balls, though.
We're definitely not.
Balls that Gary does not have.
I donated them to Jonathan. It's cool.
Yeah. Also appreciate you guys wearing. You guys have the
Yeah.
merch. You guys
Absolutely.
can't see, but you got some people rocking it here, so I definitely appreciate that. But yeah, it was a COVID business, COVID idea. Definitely can't say that it's a successful, thriving business at this point.
Yeah.
It's very much a startup, but it's something we're super passionate about, and we really believe in it. We've gotten a lot of support from friends and family and everyone who has seen the brand and, seen the clothing and been a part of it. They've had really good things to say. So we definitely have faith that, it can go a long ways, and we're just going to continue to build. And, platforms and opportunities like this are a great way to, get the word out. So I'm super, super thankful to all of you for having me here and just giving the opportunity to kind of talk about it and have you all get to know me a little bit. So.
Well, and the big thing for us is that, you have a mission, and it relates very well with mental health. But the big part for us is that you donate 5% of your proceeds to suicide awareness. Am I correct?
Yeah. So American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, that was just a decision that we made to make it tangible. You know what I mean? Like, the brand is wholesome. That's our branding. That's our mission. But we really wanted it to be something real, have a real impact in the community and the, real people, you
Yeah.
know, and to have customers paying for the product know that, you know, their hard-earned money is going toward a good cause, at least some of it, you know. And that's 5% of our gross sales. So it's not actually what we take home. It's just what 5% of everything that's paid to the company. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and that's on a monthly basis. We're making donations, and you know, obviously the foundation was super happy to partner with us, and we're super thankful for that relationship. So yeah,
It's got to be something that for that specific niche for you to give money to, was that something that was part of your life? You knew somebody around that, or what is the meaning to that? Or is it just something that was important to you?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll start out kind of on the personal note. My best friend, his name is Max. He committed suicide when we were 18.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
And so that was, you know, definitely like, you know, hit home with me. That's something that has been a part of my life, unfortunately, you know, since I kind of entered adulthood. And Justin was good friends with him at the time too. We were all kind of part of the same group of people. And then I think especially just through COVID too, you know, people need that support, and that outreach more than ever. You know, I think a lot of people are battling with mental health, in a lot of different ways, and everything's kind of just been amplified, you know, through COVID, and a lot of people are in a lot of really terrible situations and really trying times. And so, you know, we just wanted to kind of support, like you said, that niche and that cause as much as we could, you know.
Because it's not something that we hear a lot about. We hear a lot about suicide. We hear about the impacts of suicide. But there's, you know, we have all kinds of wonderful charities out there, whether it's dogs or giving clothing. But this is something that I think it's got a little bit of a negative, you know, kind of vibe to it, obviously. But it's so important because you have, when that touches one life, it touches countless lives. Yeah. And for you to have endured that and to make that something going into a new business as part of, from the jump, you said, we are going to make a difference. We may not make $10 million, but we're going to make a difference with people that need help almost more than any other person. I mean, because if you're at that point, we know that sitting around this table, that is the biggest decision of somebody's life. But to be able to get them back from that, get them the help that they violently need, if they're willing to take that final step, you know, that is something that is incredible. So I mean, I really want to thank you for that. And I know it can be hard to talk about, though.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean,
you know, I want to give you a chance to let us know, but I also understand that there's an emotional impact from it, and I don't want to push that or anyone else. So we want to get into the fun stuff here in just a minute as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, the second you brought that up, my chest
I could
definitely
tell, and that's why I
tightened
said
quite a
that.
bit. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it affects everything. You know, I mean, I was a lot younger at the time, obviously, but like that was a defining moment in my life, and every part about my life has been different since he took his life, since that happened. So, you know, a lot of good things have happened because of that. I've changed in a lot of positive ways. Obviously, it's an extremely, you know, difficult thing to think about and talk about and relive, and you know, yeah, it's shitty. It sucks, you know. But
that's the truth, though.
Yeah,
and that's what I want people to hear.
But you know, this, you know, it led me to this point. You know, it impacted tons of other people, and everything happens for a reason, you know. And I think that, yeah, it's definitely been a huge factor in leading me to this point in my life where I am now. So,
yeah, and for me, like it's great, you know, for me to sit here with you and share this moment with you, and you know, share your story with Mike and Will and like all the listeners and stuff too, because you know, I've known you, you know, since you were 6 or 7 years old or something, and you know, like the things that I think about, you know, is me and you, you know, we go out to eat, and then we go run someplace and he would throw up. He just had this.
And then I would throw up.
Yeah. He
Welcome to podcasting where we bring up your old shit and really let everyone know.
Yeah, he just had this thing, to where he would throw up, and like it's for me, it's awesome to just think about those memories and then think about where you are now and where I am now, and where like everybody is, because for me, like when I talked about before, like one of the families like that I could go to that like gave me normalcy was his family. Like to go from my house that was like extremely chaotic and like people are fighting with weapons and cursing at each other and doing all these things, and then
water cereal,
exactly, and water cereal, and to go to his house where like there was no fighting,
no drama, no nothing.
Weapons, no nothing, and like to me I was just like, this is interesting.
So I want to get your take, since you've known him for so long, much longer than Mike and I. Gary has talked about how traumatic, he just kind of relived it right there. Did you have any inkling of, and when you're 6 or 7 you might not have known, but as you got older, that he had this at home, or was he so good at hiding it like most of us are that you had no idea, and Gary was just so happy to be in a positive space? Is that something that you were able to kind of pick up on, or?
Yes and no. Obviously, like I was, a little kid, and he was my sister's boyfriend, you know what I mean? So like, I didn't catch on at that point, but as I got older, we kind of like, stayed close, and he's been a part of my life, off and on for a really, really long time. Yeah. And, as I got to be kind of more of like a teenager, more of an adult, we got to kind of get to know each other on that deeper level, and I've met a lot of the people that you have, talked about and mentioned, Victor and, some other members of your family. And yeah, you kind of started to share some things that you had gone through, and some past traumas and things that might have caused you some difficulty. And so yeah, I feel like as I got older, the relationship kind of started to grow, and we could kind of share those more personal things with each other. So,
because it's something that we're so, those of us that have, and even people that maybe not have gone through serious traumatic situations, but we're so good at being guarded and putting up we're like chameleons. People don't know. You go into it and, he's so happy and everything's great, grand, wonderful. And then he goes away and back to, the dungeon where, he encountered all these terrible things. For you to start a business in COVID and to make that leap of faith for you and Justin, what was that decision-making process like, and the anxiety involved? And because there's money, there's running a business, there's designing clothing, which is, let's talk about a business that, holy shit, is a very, very tough business to break into.
Yeah.
How was that for you guys? And just kind of give us a sense of that feeling of elation and what it was like for you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to front and say that we're this like successful, profitable business.
You're only a year old, right?
Yeah. We haven't even paid ourselves yet. Everything that we've made is going back into the business, and the most important thing for us right now is stuff like this. Like talking about it and seeing people in the clothing and just kind of getting out the message. I think that will pay dividends in the long run, and that's kind of what we're planning on. We're happy with the foundation that we're building, but ultimately, I can't speak for Justin or anything, but for me, it stemmed from not wanting to be normal forever. I'm using quotation marks, but not wanting to have to go to a job that I hated or even liked but didn't love. You know what I mean? Like just doing something out of the norm, doing something different, giving ourselves an opportunity to get out of the 9 to 5, the day in, day out, kind of struggle that a lot of people face. My dad, for example, he's the best human I've ever met. He's like the best person I've ever met.
He's amazing, man.
Gary can attest. Like he's a great person, and he's retired now, but I saw him throughout my life working a job that he hated. Like he despised going to work every single day, hated the people he worked with. And I didn't realize like how unhappy he was in that situation until he retired. It was like a light switch. I mean, he's just a completely different person, way happier, just night and day difference, you know? And that was kind of telling for me. And I kind of just realized like, man, I can't do that. You know, I can't let myself get into that rut that's so hard to get out of, you know?
And where you watch your life flash by.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're 65.
All of a sudden you're retired and now you can, you know, feel good and start your life, but it's like at what cost, you know? So it was really just, you know, a creative way to kind of give ourselves an opportunity to work for ourselves in the future, you know? And honestly, that's a struggle that I'm facing, maybe more than Justin now, but just finding time to put time into the business and work on it and build it, you know, because I work 40 plus hours a week, and you know, I also have to like focus on, you know, my, I'll use quotation marks again, real job for now, you know, because that pays the bills. And, you know, I have a lot of things coming up that, you know, that job is going to provide. And so it's a balance, you know, it's really tough, but that's kind of what it's all about. You know, we're in that process of figuring it out and, you know, building, and hopefully, you know, we just need one big break, one person to see it that's influential, or, you know, one influx of some kind, and it's taken off, you know? So we're really kind of just making it a slow burn, putting in the time and investing, and, you know.
We know someone that's TikTok famous that might do that.
Yeah, we do. We'll tell you that later. Shout out Brett. Brett, I think, just gets a shout out.
Oh, he was a guest
he got
on the
his hats
show,
today,
right?
too.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Sent
did.
me pictures.
Yeah. Did you listen to the show that he was on?
I don't think I listened to that one, but I've heard you guys mention that one in other episodes.
Yeah.
He's
So
great,
I'm
too.
going to have to go back and check it out.
Yeah.
He's just a super cool guy. The listeners are probably like, you guys talking about the same guy again? No, Brett, we love you very much. That's why we say that. But
yeah, like you were saying, it's like super competitive too, right? And so like that's another reason why we kind of wanted to stand out and make it like a tangible, you know, donation, something for people to kind of latch on and be like, oh, I could, you know, shop and buy something from this brand or this brand, but I'm not going to feel as good about it, you know? There's not the same meaning behind it. So that's kind of where we are trying to set ourselves apart.
have you always had the entrepreneurial spirit? Is that something that has been since you were 18 or 19 or something like that you're like, hey, I'm going to do that? Or is it COVID and you said, I'm tired of the grind, I want to do my own thing?
Again, yes and no. Like I've always been a pretty like self-motivated person. It's actually something I've kind of struggled with lately, just as, you know, COVID continues to be a thing, and just, you know, just life. There's a lot of life happening. But it's a struggle. Like I feel like I want to be more entrepreneurial. You know, I want to dig into that even more because I know I have it and I know the motivation's there, and it's something you got to work at. You know, It's like I kind of always had the mindset like, oh, like things will work out. You know, things are going to happen for me. Like, you know, life will kind of just come to you and you'll figure it out. But then I got to a point where I was like, damn, like you kind of have to like make things happen. You know what I mean? Like things don't just kind of roll into your life the way that you see things happen for other people. You know, like social media, I know you guys talk about like it's just the worst thing you can kind of feed into your mind, because I feel like that's what kind of taught me like, oh, like it'll all work out. You know, and
everything behind the scenes. I mean, social media is the tip of the proverbial iceberg, because beneath that, if you're an entrepreneur or whatever, you're trying to build a social media following, whatever they see, that's just what you want them to see first of all. But the work that goes into it behind it that's where this blood, sweat, and tears are, and where a lot of tears can come from, especially when you're first beginning, because being a startup is absolutely one of the toughest things any business, doesn't matter what it is, for a person to handle. And if it's your first business, you're going to see a lot of mistakes that, oh shit, this one's going to cost, even if it's $15. When you're a startup, $15 fucking matters.
That's $15 out of my rent.
Exactly.
You know what
I mean, because what you do is you start going, well, I got that 9 to 5, so I'm going to back that $15 up. Now I got to go work a fucking 20 minutes to make that, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so that's why I applaud anyone that's willing to make that kind of leap of faith again for themselves. for you, when you have when you do the creative process, because you're designing, and that requires you're being influenced by somebody, you have inspiration over here. What do you draw that from?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where it's like you're working all the time, you know, because Justin and myself both are always, sending stuff back and forth and bouncing ideas off each other, and really just like we're in the creative process all the time,
Oh,
so
you have to be, right?
anything, again, going back to social media, a lot of things, a lot of inspiration is drawn from social media, and we're looking at what other brands are doing and thinking of, oh, okay, how can we take this trend or this design we really like, how can we make it our own, how can we incorporate it into our brand and put a spin on it, in terms of design, like I am kind of just forcing myself to learn, right? So I kind of made an investment and invested in an iPad and a program, and really like set myself up to be able to design in-house. And so that's what I spend a decent amount of my free time doing. I want to do more and more of it, but it just comes from a place of just wanting to create and have an outlet to see something cool kind of stem out of it, Justin, on the other hand, he was a video editor. He's been he's the backbone of the company. He's the one that builds the website. He's the one that is kind of behind the tech and everything like that. So I'm super, super thankful for him. I'm trying to force myself more into the creative process and do more of that kind of stuff to kind of take some off his plate. But he's been super great so far. And but yeah, the creative process is never ending. I mean, anything can be a source of inspiration. I have quotes saved on my phone, pictures, just anything that I go back to later. And, when I'm sitting down with my iPad or whatever, drawing, like, how can I take this, put it on a t-shirt? How can I see this on a hat or a hoodie?
Have you always been an artist?
No, terrible artist.
So you're like, I'm going to pick something I really don't know a lot about, and I'm going to start a company.
I mean, yeah. So it's like, well, so there's a difference. So I have always been passionate about fashion and that kind of culture and sneakers. I worked for Adidas for a long time. So I've been like in and around kind of that industry and kind of built up some knowledge. So I know what works and what kind of doesn't, and I have visions. I have a lot of ideas, but the tricky part is teaching yourself and learning how to take what you have in your head and actually make it look good on a garment. That's the trick. So
that's an incredible feat for somebody like me, who, I mean, I look like I draw a fucking third grader. I mean, man, I might be insulting third graders too. So
all the third graders are like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I've seen this guy.
The chicken hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I've done a lot of things, have a lot of designs, and we'll send stuff back and forth to each other, and we're just like, we just keep it super real. Like, yo, that's trash. Like, that's, like that is not going to be it. It's not going to work. And there's a lot of trial and error and a lot of things that you have to, both be happy with. And it's a huge collaborative effort between the two of us.
So when you get from like the shirt you have now, who designed that?
A collaborative effort. This, like the actual design, Justin was the one that finalized it.
What's it say?
So yeah, Gary, you're wearing one. Mike and Will have one.
I'll put
as
mine.
well. You guys can see this on the website too, but it's wholesome. And then it has at the very bottom, kind of our slogan, which is, wholesome boy company, an extension of character, right? That's what we want everyone to kind of think of when they think of the brand. And then, we kind of thought it was a cool idea to throw the definition of wholesome on there, which reads conducive to or suggestive of physical health, and mental well-being, or good health and physical well-being. So just overall, being well, being kind of one with yourself, being wholesome. And a lot of I don't know if you guys have checked out the website, but a lot of our first,
I'm on it right now.
First batch of product is simple stuff like this, right? You gotta start with a foundation. And we're going to be dropping more and more stuff that's kind of a little more artistic, a little more creative, but we kind of had to start with a foundation line, and kind of establish what the brand is and what it means. But we have, we got ammo in the clip. We've been working on designs for a long time. So
you probably have like 30,000 designs, right?
We got a lot of stuff. Yeah. So we have some more fun stuff and creative stuff coming out. And we made a post on the Wholesome Boy Instagram, I think yesterday or the day before, and pretty much said, hey, if everything goes well in the next couple of weeks, we'll have our next drop ready to go. We plan on this batch being our worst stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this should in theory be the worst clothing we make, and it's only up from here. So we kind of started with basics and now we're kind of branching out and getting more creative with it. So.
We have a guy that will maybe be coming on the show at some point, who's got like a clothing brand too. Like I'll definitely connect you with him, and he went to the same high school as us. He's a really good dude, and
shocker.
Yeah, right. And some of the same things that you talked about or you're talking about, he's dealt with as well. And he's going through and stuff, and now I've told Mike and Will a little bit about him, and he's got some like celebrities and stuff like that, like wearing his gear and stuff, and just for me to see that, it's just amazing, just because just kind of like knowing his story and just like knowing how negative of an environment it was, and just like the things that you're doing, the things that your dad is doing now, like people kind of like shit on and like bash, like, oh, like
we know that bigger in life.
Yeah. And it's just like where like for my year or whatever, like all the people that graduated went and worked at like 3 or 4 places. And then if you didn't work at those places, like you were just nothing.
Really?
Yeah, it was just really weird. And just, so just, I don't know, just to see Jonathan now and just to hear his story, like it's amazing. I just think, it's really cool. And, I'm thankful because obviously he's my son's uncle. So it's like, I'm glad that, I have good examples around my son when I'm not there. His dad is amazing. Like his dad, Jonathan's dad, like knows how to do everything and anything. Like he's just the most positive guy. And I mean, for me, like I never knew that he like hated his job. Like I never knew, because he would just always be up and working and positive and come home, and if the kids needed help with their homework, he would help them. If they needed help fixing something, like he would fix it. And he's just the man.
That's an amazing thing for any of us to have, and even those of us, at least I'm speaking for me, I'm glad other people have that. I may not have had it, but I don't ever want anyone or to think poorly because somebody had it better than me. That it made me who I am, and made Gary who he is, and Mike who he is, and you who you are, for whatever traumatic experiences we've already talked about. I think you said a word in your definition there that we don't talk enough about, and that is physical health. I think that with mental health goes physical health. The mind and body work together, and to see a brand come out and really push that, and because some people are kind of scared to talk about it, the importance of, I'm not saying you got to be, an Olympic athlete or something, but just to take that initiative and make sure that you're taking care of yourself, both mentally and physically. That's an amazing thing for you. Is that something that you were also intentional about, or because you knew that the mental and the physical went together?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it all, like you said, plays a part. I mean, we're definitely not out here, body shaming anybody, or
no, like and that's not what
of course, yeah, that's not, it's not a athletic brand, so to speak, or but it is part of being healthy and being well and being wholesome. It's like you said, physical and mental health are very much connected, and even just speaking personally, like I feel my best when I feel my best physically, and if I notice my mental health start to slip a little bit, it might be because I haven't worked out or been in the gym as much or whatever, and like that, it does go hand in hand, absolutely. So that wasn't the initial vision behind the brand, but it definitely 100% is part of it. You're absolutely right.
And for me, like I just love just to hear the mental health talk, like at such a young age, because when I was in my mid-20s, I wasn't thinking about
Well, none of us are. I mean, it's not something that was at the forefront of any of our minds as guys.
Yeah.
Because as we have talked about here a lot, we got shit on for it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you didn't just suck it up after you got your third fucking concussion in the football game,
Yeah.
you know, you're a pussy and get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. So yeah, you know, just for me, like I definitely commend you, you know, and it goes back to, you know, just your family, you know, your mom and your dad and sisters and stuff like that. You know, they did, you know, a great job. You know, I'm very thankful. And for me, like I wasn't thinking about mental health and stuff, you know, when I was in my mid-20s, when I was thinking about other things that had nothing to do with bettering myself, bettering
Just
my
non-wholesome
mind.
behavior.
Yeah, I was thinking about non-wholesome behavior, exactly. And for me, like I just love that, you know, because it kind of just shows how things are kind of shifting, you know, like in the world and stuff. And it's just a beautiful thing, man.
What's your favorite thing about it? Out of all of it? Because I'm going to ask you the other side in a second. What is your absolute favorite thing? Like tomorrow you get to quit your job and Justin handles the tech side. What is the side that Jonathan is just fucking raring to go to do?
I really enjoy the creative process. Like I said, I don't consider myself a good artist, you know, but there are a lot of tools that are pretty user-friendly that, you know, give me the chance to feel creative and get that kind of part expressed, you know, because I think we all like need a creative outlet in some way or another. And I found that I really enjoy the creative process. So I'll, you know, go on the iPad and, you know, kind of collect some inspiration or, you know, things that I've kind of collected over the week or whatever the case is, and just start putting pen to paper, you know, coming up with a design, you know, pull up the website, see how it fits on a shirt, you know, just really like creating new product or potentially new product that could go out and be seen on people and people could buy and wear. Like that's the exhilarating part to me. That's the super exciting part. It's something that I'm actively trying to find more time to put into, because it's like you use it or you lose it, you know, and it's like you really have to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of, you know, the industry and what people are liking and wearing, and that business changes. I mean, shit feels like minute by minute. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, minute by minute. So you always kind of have to keep your finger on the pulse. And I really love the creative process. And that was something that I didn't know about myself until I really like started doing it and really made the investment and like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to buy this stuff. I'm going to spend a lot of money you know, invest in this machine that's going to allow me to express myself in a creative way. And yeah, that's the part I love. Are you guys physically making the shirts yourself, or you have somebody do it for you? How does that work? Yeah, so we're not to the point yet where we're doing our own like screen printing or shipping ourselves. So, which is a big part of why the brand even exists, because we, you know, don't have a ton of capital or resources to, you know, invest in printing presses and, you know, that gets expensive. You know, shipping infrastructure and things like that. So we use a third party called Applique, and they handle manufacturing and drop shipping. So it's a pretty, so we create the product, you know, we finalize the designs, the website is ours. And then, you know, once the customer orders it, it's pretty much out of our hands, right? I mean, obviously there can be returns and stuff, but it's a pretty good way for people like us and small businesses to kind of get their foot in the door, create something without having to, you know, blow a huge initial investment and risk, you know, losing everything potentially. Yeah. So we're super thankful for that. The goal is obviously to get much more hands-on and involved, you know, because if we want to, you know, change the material, or, you know, we don't like the way, you know, a shirt fits, we have to order something, wait for it to come, you know, see how it turned out, feel it, you know, get to touch it, and then kind of make our final decision. So it's a slower process in that regard. But the goal is to definitely, you know, continue to reinvest in the company and get to a point where we are, you know, creating and shipping and printing all of ourselves. Yeah. Right. The quality of the shirt was what stood out to me first and foremost. That's one of the things for me as just the guy that likes t-shirts. I look at the quality of a t-shirt because so many of them are just flimsy, and this is definitely not a flimsy product. Yeah. I mean, that definitely is a huge part of it. You know, like we intentionally sacrifice profit and margins for the sake of the quality. You know, like I said, we have not paid ourselves yet. So we're really investing in the quality, in, you know, everything that we can affect, you know, to make sure that it's the best product possible. You know, and we have, you know, we spent some extra to get our custom tags on there. You know, we really are trying to make it our own, make it feel like, you know, it's a good brand and something you want to be a part of. So yeah, I appreciate that. The quality is what we want to come across more than anything else.
It's the first thing I noticed.
So I'm a bigger guy, and you know, t-shirts and I have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, me too.
I need long t-shirts because I have a taller upper torso. So short t-shirts, if I bend over, man, looks like the plumber's in town, you know. So I recently bought some stuff from was it Fresh Tees or something like that? I saw on Instagram. I'm like, I'll give it a try. They're actually pretty nice. I like how they fit and everything. So it's like a little bit tighter up here, but it's looser where you don't want stuff to show, like your love handles or your back rolls or whatever, you know, what it comes down to, or even your belly button hanging out. So do you have different products like that for maybe taller guys, or is it all kind of one line, or how's that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we have an inclusive sizing range. So it goes up to, I think, like either definitely 3X, possibly 4 or 5, you know, for our bigger customers. The shirt that I'm wearing now, it's our heavyweight tee. So it's a, you know, heavier weight, obviously, and it is longer as well. So I don't know if you tried the one on that you got today,
it's still in
but
the bag right now.
hopefully it'll be long enough. We are looking into, you know, getting like extra small, like the smaller sizes as well. You know, because obviously the brand is Wholesome Boy, right? But there's nothing male centric on this shirt at all. You know what I mean? It's not a male centric brand. We want everyone to feel included and feel like they can be a part of it and contribute. And yeah, we're looking at, you know, different garments all the time. We have a new we have a crew neck coming in that we're going to take a look at. We're looking at changing the material and the style of the shirts. So we're really, trying to expand as much as possible to fit everyone that wants to be a part of it. So
you're going to have like a female line and a male line, or?
Yeah, that's the goal eventually. A lot of our stuff is unisex technically. So we've had a lot of female customers, you know, buy the stuff. It goes down to small or extra small.
There's a light pink one on here, Mike. We'll make sure that you get that.
Yeah.
No, don't kid yourself.
I'll rock it.
He likes
That's
the
fine.
pink pillows. You sit next to it.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff is unisex, but we're definitely open to having, you know, a more female centric line if we see that that's something that people really want. So
So for people starting their brand, what kind of advice like would you give to them? You know, if somebody wanted just to start a new brand, so is there something that you failed at that you would, you know, like to retry? Or
I mean, in a way, we're failing all the time. You know what I mean? Where it's just a constant failure, but it's just continuing to
fail forward.
Yeah, forward and fall forward. Yeah, thank you for that. I would just say, I mean, just do something. You know what I mean? Just do it. Like I've, you know, I'm super thankful for Justin, you know, kind of coming to me with this idea and wanting, you know, me to be a part of it. And we just agreed to just do it. You know, we just started doing things. We started making social media accounts, you know, just even though we had nothing to put on them, you know, just started making steps in the right direction. And it's been, you know, well over a year since we started those small steps, you know, so it's a long process and we're nowhere near where we want to be. But I think just doing something as opposed to just not doing something is the most important part. You know, I've heard like a lot of billionaires and, you know, successful people, they will say like, there's no difference between you and I. The only difference is that I did something, you know, like I had an idea or a vision and I put it into action, you know, made steps in the right direction.
So when you're talking about failing and failing forward and stuff like that, was there anything that you were like scared to do, but then you started doing it and you were like, you know, this isn't that bad, or is it just going, you know, pretty smoothly?
Be honest.
I mean, I think just we were both scared to, you know, actually put our stuff out there. Like we were going back and forth for a long time about kind of when to when to drop stuff and what designs we wanted initially dropped. And there was a lot of back and forth between us around that, but just scared to actually get something out there. Like I kept pushing to kind of just do it, just like put something out there, just drop some stuff, see what the reaction is. And he was a little more conservative and wanted to kind of, hold on and fine tune some things. And so we came to a healthy compromise, but it's scary, just making the website live, because we had the website behind a firewall or a lock screen for a long time. So we were, looking at it and making changes, and then it's a super scary moment, and a lot of build up to like actually, pushing the button and like, okay, it's live, like waiting for our first sale.
But I think
super scary.
Like that's why it's so important, like, just to go out and try. And it's, something that Will preaches about all the time, and Mike, talks about too, is like, just, put yourself online, just post a video, just make a video, just try, just fail. And I just think there's something to be said about that, because it's like people are just so worried about like, oh, what's social media gonna think? Or
they're worried about what other people are gonna think.
Yeah, they're worried about getting judged.
Yeah, or what's this person gonna say? But like, who fucking cares? Like, just go out and do it, man. Just go out and do what makes you happy.
One of my mentors, when I'm in real estate, like your sister, and so we've had coffee and stuff.
Okay,
but,
nice.
One of my mentors, he goes, doing something is better than doing nothing. You could even put that on a shirt.
Yep, there you go. That's all it takes. That's inspiration. Let's go on the phone.
Yeah.
So do you draw all of your inspiration from like maybe positive quotes or things like that? Because I mean, you have tattoos, so where did you get some of your inspiration for that stuff?
Just things that I've come across and carried through life. A lot of my tattoos are kind of religious themed and quotes and little things. I have the second tattoo I ever got is right here. It says, "I am greater than I was."
That's dope.
And I got this when I was actually living with you, Gary.
Yeah.
And it's just a personal growth in every aspect. You know what I mean? Like this brand, just doing something is a big step in my own personal growth and Justin's personal growth. And I think that's the most important thing there is, just constantly being better than your previous self, and in a lot of ways life is super long, and, a lot of people say life is short, but life is long also, and you guys know more than me, but like I have already lived different lives, what I mean? Like I'm such a different person now than I was 2 years ago and 5 years ago and 10 years ago.
Awesome.
And
that's amazing.
I mean, I used to be the kid that would throw up and just all the time. And, I was just like the most shy, quietest, scared, nervous kid all the time. And so that was the scariest part, just like you guys were talking about, like just, putting something out there that you care about and that you have put a lot of work into, and, just not being afraid of what people think, kind of just being, because you have to be shameless, look at people like Kanye West, you know what I mean? Look at like the most successful
he doesn't
people.
know the word shame.
Like there is no shame in anyone's game at the top, and it's a super scary thing because it's not something that's natural for me. So like even just posting a lot on social media and just like promoting the brand, it should feel natural, but it's like, it's kind of always in the back of your mind, like, like what are people going to think? What are people going to do? What's the reaction? But you just got to do it.
Yeah.
There's no, you can't have, I mean, you can, but you have to really find a way to squash that voice that is judging you for who you are or what you're putting out there and things like that. But to put it on a piece of clothing, though, is so much more than social media. Social media you can delete. If you sell that T-shirt or give it away or whatever, if somebody's out there, that is an extension and a representation of you as a person.
Yeah.
And so that is why any creative that can put something from their brain, because I can make things go from my brain out of my mouth. That's about it doesn't go below my neck. So for that, it's such a, it's creativity stops right around the clavicle for me. But for somebody to do that, I commend you a lot for that, because for somebody like me, I struggle. I mean, it is something because I actually like to draw. I've really tried to do stuff like that. And it probably doesn't help that I don't have a left hand, because I'm supposed to be left-handed, and that's not a joke. My dad, my brother, all of them are left-handed. But
You can put one of his chicken hands on a shirt.
no, we'll show you the
We'll make
no,
a
we should
special
probably
custom
not
shirt.
do that. I don't think we need to offend anyone. I'm not offended. I think it's funny as fuck, but because I make a chicken out. Yeah, so I trace my hand, and then when you take it off, you just put a little feather, and it looks like a chicken. Or
That's
the state
dope,
of
man.
Oregon.
Come Thanksgiving, you're probably the
Oh,
coolest
I
cat
am.
in town. You know? Like,
Hell yeah! Every year I put the same post up because I did it at work at a job. Gobble,
oh, shit, November's coming
Yeah,
around.
exactly. Get the hand out.
Get
And
those
luckily,
turkeys ready.
It's always here with me. But okay, so what is the worst part of it for you? What is it that you least likely or want to improve the most upon in your attacking that particular task?
Yeah, I mean, just like you were saying, how it's difficult for you to, you know, put a thought or a vision into something real. Same for me, same for Justin, you know, so it's like we always want our stuff to be better. You know, it's never, even when you make a design and you put something on a shirt that turns out well, you know, quote unquote, that is a good piece or whatever, it's never quite maybe what you had envisioned, or maybe, you know, you thought this part of it was going to be different, or you thought it would turn out a little different, and it's always kind of that the thing you're never going to catch. You know, there's always room for improvement. So that's definitely like a struggle. We're both pretty ambitious and have, like, you know, big plans and a lot of things.
That's my next question is, what does 5 years look like for you? Are you branched off into, I mean, because you do have to think about it. People will say, oh, you know, you're getting ahead. No, it's called planning, and there's a reason that you do it.
Yeah.
You're going to branch out into, because I see your bracelet. Is that by Original Grain?
No, this is actually from,
Because I have one just like that, and I love
Rose
it.
Gold and Black.
Okay.
Is the brand for this.
That is, so is that something you envision yourself? Your coats, jackets, shoes? I mean, what is it what's the next thing for Wholesome Boy, and what's 5 years look like for you?
Yeah, so an exciting thing is we actually just got it LLC'd.
Nice.
So it's an official, business. It's
awesome.
legitimate.
Tax right out.
So that's exciting. Yeah, so I'm tracking my miles. I'm like
the cell phone.
I bought a McChicken last week when I was doing designs.
Right,
like, you know, I'm not paying taxes on that. Yeah, so that's, you know, an exciting step that we just took. 5 years, ultimately, I don't want to be working on anything else other than Wholesome Boy. You know, like I actually got COVID recently. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that was it. I just got COVID. No. And when you know, it's quarantining, like you're just sitting alone with your thoughts, and like I did not want to go back to work ever. I was like,
because you were grinding, weren't you?
I mean, well, I was super sick, so like you're not mentally right, but
if you hallucinate, maybe you see something cool.
It just forced. I was like, man, like I just want this to be such a bigger part of my life. You know, like I want to just put everything I have into it, all my time and money and energy and effort. Like I want to just create it so fast. And so that's a difficult part of it too, is not being able to realize you have to walk the path that's in front of you, you know, like you can't skip ahead and do things that haven't happened yet. So that's tough. But 5 years we've talked about, you know, having a storefront somewhere. We want to have physical product, you know, somewhere that people can kind of shop through. You know, we want to expand, you know, we're talking about going into accessories and, you know, different lines and you know, things like that, just growing the brand and having it kind of become more than just a clothing brand, but just kind of a whole cultural thing, you know, just a whole idea, a whole, brand that goes beyond clothing, you know,
just a whole movement.
Yeah. It's a movement. Exactly. So that's kind of the long-term plan, and it's all about figuring out how to get there, you know?
So when you're talking about walking the path in front of you, like, have you reached out to like any of the like other smaller brands like Black Mannequin or Rookie Rise or maybe Portland Gear or something like that? Like, have you reached out to somebody that's from the area and like got their advice or anything? Or
yeah, so we're in the process of doing some collaboration. Like, you know, once, you know, Apple and the FBI, they're all listening to you. Yeah. So like my Instagram is just filled with every small clothing business there is, you know what I mean? So like we can kind of see what's going on, and we have kind of a list of, you know, people that or maybe micro influencers or, you know, maybe even larger influencers that we kind of think match our mindset and the vibe we want to create. And so, we're kind of reaching out to people like that, and we're going to hopefully, send some stuff to them. And, like you said, your friend, he has some celebrities wearing their stuff, and just really getting creative on how to reach a broader audience, so stuff like that is definitely in the works. We've reached out to some other smaller businesses as well. I'll be on Instagram or whatever. I'll see a shirt that I really like or a font that I really like that I haven't been able to pin down or find. And, I'll send them a message. Hey, like what font did you use for this shirt? What effect is this, so just kind of going back and forth, and everyone's been super helpful so far. And, just like all kind of wanting to do the same type of stuff, so, there's been a lot of collaboration and definitely more organized official collaborations in the future for sure.
Because that's what I was going to ask you is what's your reception like with another brand when you reach out to them? Because sometimes it's adversarial and everyone sees everyone as a competitor. Whereas, I look at whatever business, if you decide to go into a business, you have made a commitment to yourself, but you have to understand that there's enough money to be made, and it's on you to give the value to the consumer. So that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it's all been, super positive. And I think it's hard to, hate on a brand, that has wholesome on our shirts, you know what I mean? Like, and we kind of want that to be the case, right? We don't want to come off as fake or phony, or, we don't want to be competitors to anybody. Like, we're really just trying to be in our own lane, be creative, create things that we want to see. And that's what we, think will kind of put us on the right path again and in the right direction. Everything's been super positive so far. Everyone we've reached out to has, hit us back and shown a lot of great support, like our family and friends, and people have been reposting things. And like, it's just been super humbling, because we put a lot of work into it. We were kind of teasing things for a long time and, telling a few people about it. And just the support from, our family, our friends, you all, like, it's just been super, overwhelming in a lot of ways and really humbling. And even if it stops right here, you know what I mean? Even if this is as far as the brand goes, it's like we did that at least, when we had a positive effect on that small group of people, however many people that bought the shirts or the hoodies, they're out there wearing that, it's out there in the world. So it's like, in a lot of ways, it's already a win just that we got to this point. And everything else is kind of just bonus points from here on out. So
how many shirts have you guys sold?
Total quantity, I would have to look it up. So the first week we did pretty well. Things were kind of trickling in, and then, so it's still super small scale. Yeah. And we're kind of going into, advertising, figuring out kind of what platforms to advertise on. So we have some Instagram ads out there. I don't know if you've maybe come across them, or,
I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with that. I was going to say Twitch streamers. My son is a Twitch streamer. Mm-hmm. One kid may only have 5 people watching him, but if you hit on if one of those kids sees something they like, that shit will go like wildfire. Yeah. And you send a 15-year-old kid a fucking free T-shirt, he's going to think you walk on water. Yeah.
So Justin actually has a Twitch following.
Does he?
He was a streamer for a long time. He hasn't been as much lately, but, he has an internet community that has supported him through this as well. And, we really think like you said, like that's all it takes. It takes one person, like one thing to happen. And then it's like you're blowing up, you're in the limelight, And so, we're kind of just, doing what we can to prepare for that and get ready for it. We do believe it's going to happen. We think big things are ahead of it, and, we're super excited, but yeah, to your point, that's all it takes.
So this is the biggest question of the whole show. What do you think about being interviewed in the doily room?
Man,
I don't know if you've heard
a little bit. Yeah, I'm like,
because if you want to put one of these on a T-shirt, I'm sure Mike would be willing to part with it so you can trace it or something. Doilies are hot on the streets right now.
Not sure if you know that.
Yeah,
inspiration. It's going in the phone.
The Golden Girls streets, but it's all good. Mike, it's a vibe. That's for sure.
Yeah. So if we ever end up leaving this room and going to like a studio, we're gonna have to have a doily something.
Yeah, I mean, what's
We're
next?
not.
for
No,
you
we don't
guys,
have
you know?
to. That's
Like,
not set in stone that we need doilies.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have one that will
I just
frame.
said one. Just
Yeah,
one.
no, we can frame
I don't
one
want
of them.
this shit. No.
No, I think you do.
We gotta have doilies, and we gotta take the picture of Mike too. I
Yes.
love that picture.
Why do you think I sit right here?
The
Yeah, I don't
shrine.
give a
Why?
shit about
Yeah.
seeing all this. I just want to look
I
at
hope the
that
sun
fine
continues
piece of
to
ass.
shine through the windows and keeps fading it like it has.
Oh, I thought you were getting that glow off the sun.
No.
You're like,
Hope the sun just like bleeds it to whiteness back to
No,
what
no,
it was.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, that is such a high quality picture, and the stained 72 frame around it with the ribbon or whatever that
Hey,
is.
that's
I mean,
from Dave's Studios.
I bet.
It's a
Yeah.
pretty tough look, man. It's pretty,
Oh
it's
yeah,
pretty hard.
That's right.
that's gangster. Those white. I didn't know you
Shut up,
were.
those are Nikes.
Nah, those are
Nike Monarchs.
Are you sure they're not K-Swiss?
No, there's not K-Swiss. They're Nikes. That
Like,
when
that's my New
the
Balance. I'm gonna
Olympics
be
were out.
mowing lawns in these in like 25 years. That's some hot shit right here.
So, anybody listening, don't ever have Will over to your house to make fun of your senior photo.
Don't have
Mine's
your
way
senior
worse.
photo up when you're 42.
This isn't my house.
I'm gonna say mine is unrecognizable, so I think
Yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah.
Well, I put mine up on the internet here not too long ago, just so I could get roasted because it said Ford's rule underneath it. And I mean, that was
Those are
that's
quote
fucking Shakespearean right there.
Ford like the car.
Yeah, because I had
the
a Ford.
That should go in your
Said-
phone too for inspiration.
No,
Exactly.
it's staying
No.
out. That's not.
Ford's
Don't
rule.
be like
That's not
Will.
going
Yeah,
anywhere.
no, I got thoroughly roasted on that. And
Mine was so bad too, and like the thing about mine is like my senior year at high school, I was in this class like babysitting kids.
that
And-
you
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, prepared you for life.
And you were in that class and you still went and did the unwholesome things.
I know, right? All bad. But yeah, like that picture was like up like when the parents walk into the classroom.
Oh wow.
And yeah, the teacher said there was people that were like, "Is this a prisoner? Like, what is
Yeah, we have a prisoner outreach program for our child care.
like? Why is he not smiling?" But it's funny too because it's like just looking back like on those older pictures of me, like I never smiled in pictures or anything. Like,
Neither did I.
I hated smiling, and it's funny because like now I don't know if it's like just because my like
It could be not living in that house.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
going out on a
Yeah.
limb here.
yeah definitely
Maybe
I
not
think
getting your
happier
shit
overall.
stolen on Christmas.
yeah and yeah, I mean that's something else that I wanted to touch on too, was just, you know, like in a world now of like so much fake shit, like
Oh,
fake
yeah.
people and stuff like that, like it's awesome just to see this brand and just it truly is wholesome. And I think, you know, I'm definitely gonna vouch, you know, like I know him and I know his family, and like this is real, you know, like it's a real thing, and I just love to see that, man. It's just amazing. I just want to say that again.
Man, I appreciate it. Yeah. No, I'm super thankful, you know, to meet you all and, you know, be here. And so I actually reached out to Justin last night, or I told him that I was, you know, going on this podcast and doing the show. And he was super excited. So he actually cooked up a discount code for anyone listening.
Nice, because
to
we were
the
going to get
podcast. Yeah. So
and we'll say it now, and then we'll say it at the end, and it'll be on all our
yeah,
socials. and
yeah,
stuff, too.
definitely. So it's for 15% off any purchase, and it's capital M, lowercase v, capital M. So
Nice.
MVM.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
ManVsMood, yeah, 15% off. Yeah, any purchase. So.
And it's just wholesomeboy.com.
So it's actually
it's
wholesomeboy.co.
.co, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
.com was taken, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
And it may
But-
not be a wholesome website that it links to.
you know,
Don't click on
that's
the wrong-
neither
Yeah,
here
exactly.
nor there. But that is not our website. Whatever it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it actually worked out. You know, Wholesome Boy Company, CO. You know,
Yeah. No,
kinda
that's
makes sense. So
perfect.
yeah.
So for you and Justin to sit down and work together, that is a dynamic. Even though you go back a long ways, that can present challenges. A really good way to get rid of friends is either buy a boat with them or start a business. You have chosen the latter.
Yep.
Has that been challenging? Have you guys vibed the whole? Because I'm sure there was an intense amount of communication, which is necessary to go partners on something. But have you had ups and downs? Like I would imagine.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, I don't know what he would say, but you know, there's.
Well, I'll put words in Justin's mouth. He's like, that mother. No.
He's like, I hate it. Actually, he's not even a part of it anymore.
I smoked his ass out on the way over here.
No, so we're actually roommates as well.
Oh, very nice.
So there's another kind of dynamic, and unfortunately, we actually don't get much like sit down, creative, collaborative time, just because our schedules are pretty much complete opposite. So. Yeah, it's been a lot of texting, you know, everything, pretty much every decision, every idea is a back and forth, you know, so we're texting and communicating all the time. But, yeah, a lot of times there's, you know, creative differences and, you know, I'll send him something that I, you know, really like or am excited about and he's just not feeling it as much and vice versa. And, you know, so yeah, that's challenging, you know, keeping kind of your pride intact too, you know, and realizing that there's another half of this and, you know, he might have a vision that I don't have, you know, or he, you know, sees something that I don't see. And so, yeah, it is a lot of back and forth, but I think whenever we do get the chance to kind of, you know, be in person and meet up and talk, you know, one-on-one, it's always super great. We kind of reconnect and really like, you know, get the vision straight between us. So there's never any bad blood. And I think, like I said earlier, like we always just kind of keep it 100 with each other, you know, like we can just be super real and be like, yo, I don't think that's what we should do, or I don't like that design, or like, I just don't think that's the direction we should go. And the other person's always super receptive. You know, we've known each other since middle school, you know, so nice. we go way back. We weren't always as close as we are now, but we've had, you know, some type of relationship for a really long time. And so, you know, and the living together kind of creates that even more too. It's just a super comfortable level that we're at, and so I'm really thankful for that and the transparency that we can kind of have with each other. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Like it poses a lot of challenges and a lot of interesting situations that, you know, could be bad, you know, if you're not in it with the right person.
So what's some of the like challenges you've had, you know, mentally, if you come to him with an idea and then he shoots it down, do you ever like beat yourself up about it, or like what are some of the things mentally that you go through while going through this process?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, you know, like I might have just spent, you know, 3, 4, 5 hours, like kind of working on a design or something, or, you know, kind of coming up with this idea and, you know, fitting it on a shirt, you know, placing it and everything and getting it kind of, you know, ready. And it just might not be something he's into, you know, and I kind of have to respect that and, you know, accept it. And we kind of both have to come to agreement on things. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, 'cause it's like, if I was running the business by myself, it might look different than if he was running it by himself, you know? We're both individuals and, yeah, it is tough, you know, and I always want to, you know, you want to feel like you're contributing as much as you should be, and you want it to be an equal partnership. And, you know, he does a lot of the back end stuff. So I really try to carry my weight, you know, on the social media side of things and, you know, coming up with designs and kind of the creative process side of things. And when something that, you know, I'm working on might not hit or might not resonate, it's like, damn, like, you know, what else can I do? What else is there? You know? So yeah, there's definitely that portion of it. And also just, you know, like I said, I want to continue to find more time, you know, like I just don't have as much time to work on it as I would like. So, that's a bit of a mental struggle as well, you know.
Do you ever put designs out on your socials to kind of get what people feel like, or like you two have finalized something and then you post it up and say, what do y'all think of this? So or is that part of what you guys do, or
the latter is what we've done so far. So everything we've come out with has been pre-finalized. Okay. But like I said, we do have a lot of stuff that hasn't been seen, you know, that people might really be into, or, you know, something that we kind of talked about this last night. We might just start kind of ordering samples for stuff that we both individually really like. You know, if I have a design or something that I'm really passionate about or think would do really well, we're just going to kind of go forward with that and see what the other person thinks, get it in person, you know, maybe, you know, preview it on social media, you know, see kind of what the reaction is and kind of go based off of that. So that's definitely something we're going to do more of. We haven't been able to yet because it's still so early, but that's a super great idea, I think.
Well, yeah. And I think that doing what you're doing now and by just being here with us, there are, you know, for all the evils of the internet and social media, we have so many opportunities to connect with people on a very real level like this for free. You got to put yourself out there. You got to do some shit that you may not want to. At times you don't want to. But if you're willing to make that commitment to yourself, to Justin, and to Wholesome Boy, there is a whole world of people out here like me and Gary and Mike that really want to support people like you. And I'm sure there's, master groups or whatever the hell they call those on Facebook where, it's other small retailers or small clothing company, whatever it might be. But I'm for all the shit I talk about the internet, that is one aspect that I'm so thrilled. And I'm sure you guys, you guys are younger than us. You know the power of social media and that one thing can click. But more than likely, just like every other business, it's a grind. And you're going to see, if you saw 10% growth year over year, that's tremendous. Yeah. But you just have to have the patience to get there. And so I know that is something that already is part of your strategy. Do you like the marketing side of it? Is that something that you've had experience with, or is this you're like, hey, I'm both feet in and let's burn this motherfucker down because that's what it's going to take for this to blow up?
Yeah, I'm definitely no marketing major. I don't, know what that takes to get to that point. I'm not, not a marketing genius or anything, but we just go out and do things. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we just
action.
We had a couple trailers that we filmed and launched beforehand, kind of teasers and stuff like that. And just him and me and maybe one other person, my girlfriend, we'll go out. She's a photographer, so she's been super great.
We'll do stuff for us too, maybe.
Yeah, but we'll just go out and
cameras.
take our own pictures, shoot our own videos, do things that we think people will grab onto. And on our days off, Justin's making ads, with these shirts, the shirt that I'm wearing, and then it's rolling on Instagram the next day. You know what I mean? We're just figuring it out as we go, and stuff like that catches on, and that's just what it takes. So there's no necessarily like technical plan behind the marketing strategy. I think it's a lot of different things, like
guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, it's guerrilla marketing, exactly. Just being super shameless, and that's something that's an opportunity for me. I want to get better at being more shameless. Reaching out unapologetically. Like DMing people, sending people product for free. Just like really being more active in that space, because that's ultimately how you're going to grow. You're not going to get anywhere if you're not unapologetically about your brand and what you stand for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're kind of just figuring that part out as we go. But we've had a couple ads that have done really well. And we kind of see, you see things that you latch onto and things that look good to you, right? And we can kind of, replicate that in so many ways. And, we've had a couple ads that have done really well and gotten us some sales. And, it's just about figuring out what works and building on that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, just doing test groups. I do the same thing in real estate.
Mm-hmm. Put
different things out and see which ones are hitting and which ones aren't. You just shut that one down and roll with the other one. Just kind of fine tweak as you go.
Yeah, and that's I'm a big proponent of education by action. And I don't have a degree in podcasting, and none of us do. You fucking do it.
Could have fooled me, man.
It's just a matter of repetition. Same thing for you. You have iterations of a design that, like we were saying earlier, there's 500 different designs that it took you to get to the final one. But you did it, and you learned a tremendous amount about it. So, well, as we like to say, our time has about come to an end here, because we know everyone's attention spans. But we're going to talk offline, because I think I have some stuff for you that would help you, marketing stuff and whatnot.
That'd be great.
I've lived on the internet for a long time, and I understand it fairly well, and I would love to help you guys out. I have tools and just bounce stuff off me, because that's something that when you live in that world and have a connection to it, it's you actually just have to spend the time doing it. And if my experience can help you, then by all means. So
yeah, that means a lot.
As we wrap up with some final thoughts, I'll start with you, Gary. What do you got for me?
Man, this was amazing. And, you know, just hearing Jonathan's story, you know, knowing Will's story and knowing, you know, Mike's story and stuff like that, and just thinking about me, like I just think about, you know, some of the things that I'm going through, or, you know, some of the things that I've gone through. You know, and most recently, you know, like I've been listening to this new book, you know, for somebody that I really look up to, and this person's, you know, just being very vocal and honest, and they're just talking about things that they've dealt with in their marriage and dealt with in their life. And it's like, to me, just hearing, you know, like everybody's story and hearing, you know, feedback about our shows and stuff like that, it makes me want to get better as a person, and it makes me, you know, just want to keep improving like every single day.
That's what it takes.
I just wanted to commend you on, you know, starting a new business and not having any like background in it, and you guys just running with it. I mean, that takes some balls.
Yes,
so
definitely.
it, you know, and plus what you guys are going for, and the movement that you're behind, I really respect that. I've been touched by suicide. I've even attempted it. So, like, to have those a company that is looking out to better people and to help them get out of that space is pretty awesome.
It is.
So, yeah.
Why don't you give us all of your social handles, give us the coupon code again, and like I said, I'll include that, or we'll include that in everything.
Yeah, for sure. So the website, if anyone wants to check it out, it is wholesomeboy.co, wholesomeboy.co. Again, for listeners of this show, 15% off, discount code MVM, capital M, lowercase v, capital M. Instagram handle is Wholesome Boy Co, all lowercase.
Sweet.
Wholesome Boy Co, we're on there. Yeah, check it out. We frequently repost stuff from our own personal socials as well, so you'll see us on there. And yeah, I'm just super grateful to be here. I mean, I just met both of you, and just to hear the encouragement and support, it's even being welcomed, into this house. Like, it's just, I'm
With the
super grateful
doilies.
for it. And yeah, with the doilies and the hard as hell picture hanging on the wall.
I know, man.
No,
Straight out of Compton, crazy
that's
mother.
what it's all about,
That's not going to be up there next time.
It's about just like lifting each other up and just supporting
is.
each other wherever you
Yeah.
can, and like I've listened to some of your guys' stories, and it's super inspiring. And you guys even just doing this podcast is doing something, which is what we talked about. It's like you guys are taking a risk in a lot of ways and putting yourselves out there, and it's just super commendable, and thankful to be a part of it. So
Absolutely, and
Yeah,
and
thanks
this
for
is
stopping
a relationship that will continue on, because as people that are trying to achieve something that is greater than money, which is kind of the way I look at anyone that is successful, looks past the money and looks towards the goal that they want to achieve, which is you want to promote wellness, physical health, mental health, suicide awareness, things like that. Those are the same types of things that we're promoting. So I think there's a synergy there that we can definitely work together on. So I look forward to that. But thank you very much, Jonathan. I appreciate you sharing your story, being vulnerable with us about the tough times in your life. Like I said, I could definitely tell as I asked that it elicited a serious response.
like, oh
from
God,
you. Yeah, I know.
Can't cry on this podcast.
Yeah, no, I get that. So we thank you very much. And again, that's wholesomeboyco or .co, and check them out on Instagram at wholesomeboyco.
It's been a
All
pleasure.
one word. Thank you, boys. We gone.